Warning: the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and/or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Southern Fried Paranormal with Len Dorman featuring Bones. Catch us on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Spreaker, Facebook, Stream, and everywhere else you catch your podcasts. And of course, WLFE-DB.com. Now, from the backwoods of southeast Arkansas, right beside the Bayou Bartholomew, the longest bayou on the planet, broadcasting from downtown metropolitan Cane Creek Township, here is your host, Len Dorman.
We're going to add me to the stream so you can at least see me. No, all fat eating turkey, ham too. We used to have turkey and ham on both Thanksgiving and Christmas. Anyway, we are set and ready to go for our Thanksgiving show. We're going to get together with Joe West. We're going to do it right about now. We're going to bring her right on in.
Hello, hello.
And happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Yes. Beautiful day.
Yes, it was. Now, tonight, this is just a Thanksgiving special. I'd like to talk about you. I'd like to get to know more about you. We have talked before. You've been on the show before with other folks. But tonight, I'd like to talk about you, what you do, how you do it, and your plans for the future.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to be on here. It's so good to see you again. So, as the banner says, I am a psychic medium and an empath. As far as like my background goes, I've always been able to talk to spirits. I just started my business up this year, and I have a lot of friends on Facebook, you know, that I went to school with and that, and they're like, well, how did you know? When did all this happen? Well, it's always been there. And it's never something like I tried to hide or anything. It's just I grew up in a really small town, and spirits weren't always like the topic of the subject. So, um, but yeah, I've always been able to talk to spirits. I guess just always an open vessel for that kind of stuff. The psychic stuff is a little bit more new. It's been there, but it's more just realizing what it is, and and the empath has definitely always been there. A lot of people, always want to know what is it like to be an empath, and it's just crazy feelings, crazy feelings. And the thing is, a lot of people already they have the gifts, they just don't know how to use them, or they think it's something else. So like when you are going somewhere and you have a good feeling about it, that's psychic, that's empath, that's how you work with that kind of stuff. And the empath and psychic and mediumship, all of it also has to do with your vibrations. They go up, down, and it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. They can be real high, real low, all that stuff goes all right along with it. Yeah, it's talking with spirits has just always really been normal for me. So like I said, the psychic stuff is more new. I started taking classes with Diet Renee. She is super awesome. And I thought, I'll take a beginner psychic class. What the heck? Why not? And we did like 5 readings, I think, in that day, and I was like spot on all of them. And so I was like, well, shoot, I'm gonna go ahead and make a business page and try to make a living out of this. So that's what I've been doing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would never think of this as a career path for myself. Of course, I'm not. I don't claim to be a psychic or anything.
Mm-hmm.
How did you start knowing you were a psychic as a child, or did it develop later
Well,
in life, or how did that work?
yeah. So the medium was always just there. That's just always been normal for me. And I think I always knew I was psychic too. It was just a matter of really developing the skill and really listening to things, just really honing in on the vibrations, on the skills. Like I just started tarot reading earlier this year. So I started my business page in March. That was probably around the time I got my first tarot cards too, and that. And the tarot is actually really natural for me. It's been awesome. I almost always have great readings come out of them. People just absolutely love my readings. So I guess to answer your question, once I started taking that very first beginner class, I think is probably when it really dawned on me. I think I kind of always knew, but it wasn't nothing I was, really going to ever make a career path with or anything. And it wasn't until that first beginner class when she had said, oh, yeah, I've had people quit their job doing this and everything. I'm like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I still work full time, but I love helping people. I just absolutely love helping people. And that's for me what the true thing is behind it. So especially for today being Thanksgiving, I'm very thankful for all the readings that I've been able to do for people.
Oh, cool. It is a joy to help people. I've
Yes.
I've rarely had jobs where I really was out helping people. Uh, I've I've not done. I've been in the paranormal for years, and I've done only a couple of home investigations.
Mm-hmm.
And in those couple of home investigations, uh, both of them, one was with somebody, and I don't think they handled it very well.
Yeah.
And another one was with another group of people, and come to find out that everybody was running out there because she was advertising on a date site,
Oh.
and you had several guys going out there. She was inviting males out there predominantly to get a bunch
Oh,
of guys
jeez.
into her condo, and I found myself in
Wow.
a very strange situation.
I bet that sounds like a very strange situation. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, I on my on my page, I'm up to almost like 500 followers right now. I have regular people. Um, every Sunday I do a Facebook Live. It's called Coffee and Clarity. It's at 9:30 on Sundays, 9:30 a.m. Um, and I just discuss stuff that's going on with me, with my paranormal team. I go over different subjects, that I feel like people want to hear about. Um, and then I always do a reading at the end. And it's always interesting to me because I've only had to cancel it like maybe 3 times, and I've been doing this since March. And the couple times I did have to cancel it, um, there were sad emojis and that, and I'm just like, oh, I mean, people really, they always say they look forward to my lives. They watch them, over and over again, and it just makes my heart happy.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
So, is this on your profile page you do this, or have you got another page you do this on?
Nope, on my profile page. Yep, yep. Like I said, every Sunday at 9:30.
Down
Yep,
here.
on that one. Go on that one. Go there. There we go. There we go. Yeah, go right there. Yep. Joe West. Yeah, I always do a reading at the end and that. And like I said, I have regular people that follow me. And then I'll get people, that will get on there and they'll be like, oh, is Spirit talking this way? And I have to tell them, well, for a private reading, you have to message me because it's just a general reading. So what I do is I pull out 5 cards and people can pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many they want. And then I say what the card is, and that card is for them. So everybody does their readings different. Everybody is unique in doing that. So what I personally do, I have many, many decks. And so if there's something on the card, I read what it says on the card. If there's something from the book, I like to read from the book. But then I always put my hand on the card and I take what that card means for that person. I read the energy from that card. So
Okay. Because
yeah.
I know next to nothing about giving readings.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the tarot cards, I know extremely little about.
Yeah. So each deck is different. And there, a lot of people say you should never ever buy your own tarot deck. I have no idea why that is, because well, they say especially your first one, I think it is, but I buy whatever it is I'm drawn to. So if you're drawn to something, get it. I mean, within reason, right? I mean, you got to be able to afford it. I don't want people going out stealing stuff, but I mean, if you want something, you're gonna feel that pull towards it. And so that's what that is. So let's see. Can do actually. So I got, like I said, I got lots of cards. I work with many things too. So I use so many different ones. I have dragon ones and fairy ones and everything, but like this one is Oracle one.
Okay. Beautiful
And
dragon on it.
yeah, I have a lot of dragon energy. Um, and I'm also Sagittarius, so that's a fire sign. And I got a mouth like a sailor, so
Okay.
my lives are very blunt. I just like to say it how it is because I'm me. I don't try to fake for anyone. I'm just me. You either like me or you don't.
Understand.
So, and then I bless the cards in my head, and then I just draw whatever card I'm drawn to. The cards talk to me. So like this one is Destiny.
Okay. Can't quite tell what that is on the cover. What is that?
It's a dragon, and then they got Roman numerals.
Oh, it's a dragon head, and I got it.
Yeah, dragon head. Yep, because they're all dragons.
Okay.
All dragons on here. Yep. And so for Destiny, so then I'm just looking in my book here. We're going to look up what it says about Destiny. And like I said, each deck is different. So for Destiny, it says it is your life, your journey, your path. You walk it your way. And it's interesting. It says Destiny is a mighty dragon of great authority. She has no time for fluffiness, ego, or human dramas, as she puts it, which is a lot like me. So that's probably why I pulled the card.
Probably why you pulled the card.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. And it says light and fluffy will not create lasting changes on your planet, which I find that very interesting because a lot of people want to fit in. They want people to like them, so they're changing themselves.
I think that's
And
most people. They want
yes,
to fit
yes,
in. And
yeah, definitely.
more people
Yeah,
struggle with it than master it.
right, exactly. And the thing is that once you do that, then you're not being true to yourself. And if you want to be in this business, or if you want to open yourself up to anything, you have to be true to yourself. That is extremely huge. You have to be authentic, and you have to be true to yourself. You can't, fake things. And it's also about really opening up to spirit. So yeah, I mean, like I said, each deck is different. So this one is my Dragon Path Oracle one, and it's like I said, each person reads the cards different. So like I said, I read from the book, I read from the cards, but the bottom line of the reading is that I always take that energy from that card and I interpret it for that specific person.
Okay. I see.
Mm.
I kind of like that card myself because it sounds a lot like me. By the way, I'm a Cancer.
Oh, okay.
I'm in,
Okay.
I,
Okay.
I'm in as middle of Cancer as you can get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that it sounds like me because I've always kind of been that way too.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have your own show, if you mind getting out in front of people, having a podcast is the wrong place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I love my lives. I love it. And sometimes it's hard for me to wrap my head around people when they say they've never done a live, or I'm totally out there. Put me in front of the camera, video, whatever. I don't care. I mean, I have my own personal Facebook page, and I'm always posting goofy stuff on there. It's just, I just love being, my goofy, blunt self. So
Yes. I like to have a few laughs, do a little serious stuff like we're doing here,
yep,
and then laugh like you just did. Uh,
yeah,
that's life. You're serious,
right,
and then you want to kind of have a little chuckle or something.
right, exactly. Well, and that's the thing with this type of business. Sometimes the readings can be really serious. So you have to give a little bit of light into the dark. Sometimes I've had readings, mediumship readings, where they've been really, really heavy. And when I say heavy, I mean I can just really feel the weight of depression, or what that person, the spirit, is feeling. And so then, you also have to be tactful in
Or
your messages when you're saying stuff to people and everything. And so it's just a matter, it's a way of learning how to say things to people. You have to be a people person, and you really have to be considerate and understanding, of what that person is going through. And just so everyone knows, if you ever want any type of reading where you want to connect to your loved ones, you have to wait. If someone has just recently passed, you have to wait at least 3 months until they have been passed.
I've often wondered that. I've never asked. So you just give me a piece
Yes.
of information I have thought about in the past, but never thought about asking someone. So thank you for that.
Yeah, because a lot of times the spirit doesn't know where they are or what they're doing. My oldest sister passed away last year, September. And she wasn't into any of the stuff I'm into. She was 16 years older than me. And I ended up seeing her. She came to me and was in my bedroom doorway and was just looking straight ahead. And I knew from the look, because she wasn't looking at me, that she didn't know where she was or what was going on. And my dad also came to me. They were very close. And he said he wanted to help her, but he didn't know how. So he wanted me to help her. So I reached out to her and I told her I could help her. And my sister was pretty much the complete opposite of me. So very like dry sense of humor. And she's like, oh yeah, right. And I'm like, no, come on, you gotta believe. You gotta believe in me, believe that you can do this. And it took a little bit of persuasion, but I said, come on, you can do this, you can do it. I believe in you. And finally she said, okay. And it was pretty reluctant, but she said, okay. And she started walking. And then there was this like oval shaped white light. And she ended up walking through it. So that was like just a huge, huge thing for me to be able to help my sister cross over. That was like, probably, I would say that's my greatest accomplishment in being in this field, is to help my sister cross over.
Oh, that is so cool. I'm sorry for your loss, by the way.
Thank you.
I've of course, being 66 years old, I've lost both my parents quite a while back. I
Yeah.
was I turned 40 right soon after my mother passed away. So I was still about 39 years old. My mother passed, and I was still 6 years later. Yeah, 6 years later, in my
Yeah.
mid 40s when my father passed away. So
Yeah. Yeah, I've had, and I think that's another thing is that I've had a lot of death, like in my family, um, and that so that's just another thing being a medium, and that I have spirits come to me. My mom comes to me all the time. She passed when I was only 20. Um, and she's just like me, got my personality. I get that right from her. She's always, always there for me. One of my nephews passed away when he was only 23 in 2006.
Wow.
And it's interesting because he comes to me. He actually came to me the day he passed. Once I got back home, I had to have somebody give me a ride home. And I was hugging my husband, and my nephew appeared to me, and he kept saying he was sorry. He was sorry. He died in a car accident. And he will come to me and he will talk to me. But whenever anybody else gives me a reading, he won't come up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of makes sense. He trusts you.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. He's always there for me, and a lot of people wonder, like, well, why won't this person come through for me? Why won't that person come through for me? There's a lot of reasons. Sometimes it's just the trust, and then it also depends on your loved one. If they passed away, let's just say from cancer, if it was something tragic like that, where it took a lot of energy from them and they were not in a good state when they passed, they might not have enough energy to come through to you. I mean, there's been times I've done readings where I tell people I can sense them, but it's so very faint that I can just sense their presence. And
Well,
that's it.
I have I was adopted at birth, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And my adoptive parents are like you're describing.
Okay.
My father passed away from cancer. My mother had 2 or 3 different ones, including Parkinson's,
Mm.
when she passed. Both of
Mm-hmm.
them were in bad shape. Days before they passed, they lost real capability of speech.
Mm-hmm.
So my father, he was sleeping 99% of the time for 2 or 3 days before he passed. So yeah, he basically died in his sleep.
Right.
And my mother, she had lost capacity for speech or a whole lot of movement, so she basically passed in her sleep too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And both of them passed away in the home they had bought together.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Uh,
Yeah, see, my mom passed, she had pancreatic cancer, and then they found brain tumors
ooh,
on her. But my mom was quite a spitfire. So when she comes through, she is very, very vocal and very loud and very boisterous, just like me, just like me. Um, so it just kind of depends, because sometimes also when I connect to a loved one, I will see them in their younger years. Sometimes, that's how they want to be remembered, or that's just how they want to be seen. It just depends on, maybe that was a happier time for them. So.
to kind of say a little experience I had on what you just said. There's a house in Chicago when I lived there, the Glisner House,
Mm-hmm.
and a woman whose family owned the home. She was born either in the house or close to the house. I think she may have been born in the house and died in the house, old
Mm-hmm.
age.
Mm-hmm.
Lived in the house all her life, and she will appear every now and then to certain people with an open mind who are walking through the houses. It's kind of they they allow walk. They give tours of the place,
Mm-hmm.
of the house, and that's how they make their money. It's not like a museum, but it's the owners of the house, and of course they charge a little bit for a tour.
Right.
Uh, she will appear at different ages depending on the room she's in.
Mm.
Like in one room, which was kind of the library,
Mm-hmm.
I could see her as an older woman in there.
Neat.
And other people had said the same thing, that they had caught a glimpse of her standing there in the family library, which still has books that the family had in there,
Mm-hmm.
as an older woman.
Oh, how neat.
In another room, I did not see her in the middle of her life, in her 30s. Sometimes she appears in another room or two as somebody in her 30s, maybe early 40s.
Mm.
She's
That's
also
really
known
neat.
to appear as a child.
Oh, cool.
My wife is open to children for some reason. She doesn't know why. I don't know why, but she does not like going into haunted places where children's spirits are there because they gather around her.
Oh, okay.
And she's real good with children, living children.
Right.
They tend to talk to her when they won't talk to anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And she had the owner, the lady I'm talking about, appeared to her as a child, and she was walking down the staircase, the main staircase. We were
Mm-hmm.
finishing up our tour, and she held her hand all the way down the staircase.
Oh, neat.
And that was surprising to me because I did not see this, didn't feel this.
Yeah.
I guess she figured I was okay going down the stairs, but she wanted to hold my wife's hand while she was walking down the stairs.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So,
what happened when we were at Jericho. The little boy came to me right away, and we went we went up the stairs, and he was with me the whole time up until we took our first break, and I brought him out to the car because he was unsure whether he wanted to leave the building or not. And then I brought him out to the car, and that. But yeah, I've had people say to me, well, have you had any bad spirits, or doesn't it freak you out? If I've never I've never been freaked out about anything really, I mean, I've had like two kind of more, I guess, weird incidents where I had a black like cloud in the corner of a room that it looked like it was kind of coming towards me. And so I started saying the Lord's Prayer over and over again, and then it dissipated. And then I had a spirit come, and it was just the head, and it was coming down the hallway. And it put its hand over my mouth. I was laying in bed, and it put its hand over my mouth and had a knife in the other hand, and it was just the head. And it kept looking back and forth. Like I could tell right away it had no idea where it was or anything. And then it just went through the wall again. So I think that spirit was just trying to find its path.
could have been. Okay. Can we go? Let me go ahead, and it's halftime, a little bit past
Okay.
halftime, actually. Let me go ahead and run a couple little ads real quick, and we'll be right back. So this is only going to take a few seconds. All right.
Alrighty.
First thing. There it is. The Gypsy Soul Holistic Fair. This is another psychic. I don't know if you've heard of her. Phoenix Jansen.
Haven't heard of her.
The Gypsy Soul Fair is a meeting of people who are into crystals, and a little bit of witchcraft, things like this. They do fairs in Oklahoma, Texas, and here in Arkansas. So this one's this banner's talking about one that happened in October, but they will be having another fair in Oklahoma and be at Hot Springs in April, I believe, and I will be attending that event.
Oh, cool.
So there's another event I will be attending, which is this one here. And it says October, but if you notice the date is 23. This is next October.
Yeah, yeah. I just saw that, as a matter of fact, on Facebook today. I was like, oh, I would love to go to that. I want to go to New Orleans.
I have already told Phoenix I will be there.
Oh, nice.
You can see the paranormal groups that are kind of sponsoring a Paranormal Swamp Investigation. They have
Yeah.
their own show. They are some very interesting people.
Yeah.
Parallax, if you've ever seen their show, you'll know what I'm talking about. In Parapost. Now, the chairwoman is the person I mentioned and asked you about, Phoenix Jansen.
Okay.
She is the committee chairwoman.
Oh, awesome.
So we will be talking about her through next year, because I've always said that my wife loves New Orleans as I do. We only live 6 hours from Bourbon Street.
Oh, nice.
And I'm talking about if we stayed in a hotel on Bourbon Street or wanted to go to a bar in Bourbon Street, we can walk out the front door, going the speed limit, and be parked in front of that hotel and be walking in the front door 6 hours later.
Oh, how cool.
So being in Southeast Arkansas has its advantages. Now, of course, a lot of it's 2-lane before we get down to the interstate going in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
But some of us have to slow down, go through these little small southern Arkansas and northern Louisiana small towns. And we've got to shift over to Mississippi because we are west of New Orleans.
Right.
And because we are on the west side of the river, and the river kind of moves a little east the further it goes south.
Right.
But I've already been obligated to be there, so I will be
That's
there.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great.
And of course, you recognize this person.
Yeah. Yeah, I think definitely you should definitely check that out.
Yes. But that's mainly what I wanted to do here at halftime.
Yeah.
And so we can get back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
You've talked about several of your family and friends. One reason I'm into paranormal is I've always been kind of associated with death, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
My graduating class out of high school, we had one person drowned that summer.
Oh, wow.
I'm from Columbus, Georgia, and one of our graduating class was down in Florida, in Panama City, Florida, and she drowned swimming in the Gulf. Just
wow.
a month or so after we graduated. A couple of years later, a guy had an accident. He rammed into the back of a truck, I believe, and the car caught on fire.
Oh, goodness.
And then a very prominent guy. This guy I'd gone to school with since kindergarten. My elementary school at the time had kindergarten through the 7th grade. So I spent 8 years in this one school.
Wow.
And 8 years going to that school with one person.
Oh, goodness.
Now we only attended junior high 1 year, the 8th grade. He went to a different one because he lived fairly close to it. He could actually walk to one, where I lived in the opposite direction, closer to another one. So we went to separate schools 1 year, and then we went back to high school for 4 years together.
Mm-hmm.
So out of my,
Wow.
13 years of non-college education, I went to school with this gentleman 12.
Wow.
He left high school and he went to the academy, Naval
Mm-hmm.
Academy, and became a naval aviator.
Oh, neat.
Yes, it was neat until his plane crashed into the Bermuda
Yeah.
Triangle.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
This was 9 years in a few months after we graduated.
Oh,
So
goodness.
he died. He was killed in a plane crash during the very beginnings of us planning our 10-year reunion.
Wow. That's just crazy.
He was a great guy. I'll never forget him. And
Yep. Yep.
people live on in memories. I don't know if anybody from our graduating class was as close to him or remembers him, but I do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to me, he's still alive in my head.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
recently, I was thinking just the other day that going back to my hometown, there's just not much need in it. I actually
Mm-hmm.
only have 2 or 3 remaining friends alive in town.
Mm-hmm.
So several others have moved, but I have lost about 10, 11 friends
Wow.
from my time down there, from people I went to school with, people I got to know later in life, people I got to know much later in life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I basically have nobody to go home to. They say you can always go home. There's not that meant to me to be a waste of time.
Yeah.
I could go
Well,
back. I could go back
as you
home
were
now. I wouldn't even call anybody.
right, as you were talking, somebody came through, a spirit came through and just said, "Hey, buddy." I didn't see it. I just heard, that's all I heard. And then somebody put their hand on my shoulder.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, yeah.
That could have been my biological father. He does not like to speak to me. Another psychic told me that he's a little bit embarrassed because he never had anything to do with me in life.
Mm.
That could also be a late friend of mine. Could be. I hate to name a name. I was hoping you'd come up with one, but
I'm also sensing like fishing.
That could be a late uncle that I used to go fishing with a lot down in Florida.
Yeah, they don't always, the thing with spirits is they don't always tell me their name.
Right.
You know? And when I let the spirits come through, I just kind of let them have a free for all. So they just come through, and that. And yeah, they're not saying anything now. So
And that could be any one of several people.
right, yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a male presence. And like I said, he put his hands on my shoulder and just said, "Hey, buddy." So that's your message, is hey, buddy.
That sounds like somebody who knew me in the past. They just don't have a whole
Yep.
lot to say to me.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
My biological father, some people have said that he may be embarrassed and doesn't think that I deserve him. They also said there's a possibility that he died in Vietnam. Because I'm from Columbus, Georgia. Fort Benning is right there, jammed up next to Columbus.
Okay.
And a lot of Vietnam War era movies started at Fort Benning.
Okay. All right.
Watched the movies We Are Soldiers with Mel Gibson.
I think so. Yes. Yep.
He remember the 7th Cavalry, and he took them to a battle quite early in the war in Vietnam.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
I started Fort Benning, was partially filmed at Fort Benning.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Wow.
some of the houses where if you saw the movie with the wives going from door to door talking about their husbands that were suddenly getting killed in this major battle,
Mm-hmm.
getting the notices by taxi cab. And I remember as
Yeah.
a child coming up, and I said, "How awful to find
Right.
out that your husband had died in a battle
Yeah.
halfway around the
Yeah.
world by telegram being delivered by
Right.
taxi cab company."
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were not prepared. The battle was before they really got geared up. In fact, this battle kind of led to him gearing up to have a reverend deliver, and several others deliver a flag and something that belonged to him to the wives after they'd been killed, instead of being delivered by a taxi cab driver just doing a job.
Wow. Wow.
And I was coming up as a kid. I said, "What in the world? Why doesn't the Army
Right.
get their act together?" And I'm
Yeah.
9 or 10 years old saying, "Why don't
Right.
they
Right.
have their act together?" I
Yeah.
couldn't understand how I was at 10 years old was more intelligent than generals in the Army. I couldn't
Right.
figure that out.
Right. Yep. Yep. And that's another thing that people ask me is they say, well, how will I know when someone is trying to reach me or whatnot? Um, and there's always signs. Sometimes people think it should be something very obvious, but depending on the spirit might want you to focus on something specific that you're not focusing on, but they want you to focus on. So it just really depends on the spirit. Like for me, I always know when my mom is around me, besides the fact that she talks to me and but every time if I'm having a bad day or a good day, there's always a cardinal out
Oh,
there.
okay. I've heard that before, that somebody said
Yeah.
they would see a cardinal. Is that common?
Yeah, I think so. They do say that cardinals are, messengers from heaven, and for me personally, that's what I've always seen. Like I said, whether I'm having a good day or a bad day, it's something, when I need it, she's there for me. And that and my nephew, I feel like he's my guardian angel, and there's also angel numbers. So angel numbers are specific numbers that you see in a repetitive thing. I don't know a whole lot about like numerology or anything, but depending on the pattern and how many, like just 1 7 means something, 77 and all that. So it's another thing if you're seeing numbers over and over again, and that's something if I don't know something, I Google it. I Google everything, So I know my numbers are 8 and 7, and it's just no particular order or whatnot, just 8 and 7.
Okay. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I just thought of something while you were talking. Of one friend of mine that I worked with
Mm-hmm.
in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away, let's see, in the 90s. He somehow, nobody was with him, he was alone. He was fishing and somehow fell out of the boat, hit his head, and drowned.
Mm.
Nobody knows what he was doing because he was alone. They
Oh,
just
wow.
he did not come home when he was supposed to, because he had to get the boat out, of course, when he could see. And when it got dark, they of course automatically started worrying about him, and they knew where he was going to be fishing,
Mm-hmm.
and they found him drowned.
Oh, wow.
So we used to work together. So that sounds like something he would say.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's probably him. Um, because I heard a voice as you were talking say, I was just trying to catch that fish. And then I can feel the water and gurgling, and like really, really cold. So I think that's probably him. I can see a man's face, but it's kind of blurry, but it's very puffy, very puffy. I'm guessing that's probably from the drowning, because it feels like wet and clammy,
Mm-hmm.
and that. So yeah,
But
I'm thinking that was probably him.
it makes sense. He was
Yep.
another high school friend.
Yeah.
In fact, three of us ran a location for a business in Georgia. We ran the Columbus location
Oh, neat.
for a couple of years. The other friend of mine, he went down to South Georgia where the business is located,
Mm-hmm.
and they sent him back to Columbus to open up a location there, and worked with the friend of mine we're talking about for a while, and then when I became available, I went to work
Mm-hmm.
there, and then the main friend of mine, he went back down south, and it was just the two of us working for about 8-10 months, close to a year, before that location was bought out by a bigger, richer competitor, and we worked there together for a short while.
Mm. Wow, neat stuff. Heard a lot, yeah.
So that was interesting, and it's kind of funny. Well, maybe not funny, but interesting that the other friend of mine died. Oh, we talked on the phone for the last time just after I moved to Arkansas, which is coming up on 7 years
Oh,
next
wow.
month in December.
Mm-hmm.
We moved here basically December 1st and 2nd
Mm-hmm.
of 2015.
Oh, that's my
And
birthday is December 1st.
really, that's when we moved to
Yeah.
Arkansas and from Chicago.
Mm.
And about 18 months after that, he passed away.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine, the one of the few that's left. He'd moved to another county, and he was lamenting that so many people have that we all hung out. We were called a special group of friends. They figured we all be real close together, but you
Mm-hmm.
know how it is. Everybody gets involved with women
Yeah, yeah,
and their business lives, and kind of
right,
spreads apart. But I guess I had more to do with my school friends than most people do.
right. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely hard when death is associated, with you, when you have gone through so much. And like I said, I think that's another reason why spirits come to me, besides the fact that I'm just an open vessel, that I've had a lot of death, and I'm not, whoever comes to me comes to me. It
Right.
doesn't matter, what they did in life or whatnot. I'm willing to, talk to them and relay the messages or whatever it is they want me to relay to them, because the messages are not for me, it is for the person. And that's why in my reading that I do for people, I always say everything I see, feel, and hear, and I tell people that. Where,
Okay.
if sometimes I've gotten a taste of something. One time, somebody's grandmother came through, and oh, she was baking some cinnamon sugar cookies, and they just tasted amazing. So yeah, it's all in, the messages and
Uh,
that. And I just tell everyone everything that I see, feel, and hear, or if I taste something, if I smell something. And sometimes it doesn't make sense right away. I did a reading for one of my.
Can we hold
Yep.
off on that thought?
Yep.
Need to go ahead in this one,
Okay.
in this recording, and we'll pick at. Just remember what you're thinking about.
Yep.
And we'll pick it up with it in the next hour.
Okay, sounds good.
Let me get out of here.
Okay.
I will send you a link to the second hour.
Okay,
So
sounds good.
Stand by on Facebook.
Okay.
All right. That ends our first hour. We'll be back with a second hour with our guest. Put that back up. We'll be back with our guest, our telepath, Joe West. All right, let's get out of here. We're going to go back to feeding the ducks.